In this movie, we're just going to look at the links panel, just to understand a little bit about how to maintain your images of the right size. Even sometimes vectors can be very important in this process. Even though vectors are scalable, you might want to determine that, well, if I'm going to have my text that goes below a certain size, that it's not going to be able to print. Or if you've got some line art that you scale from imported vector graphics from Illustrator and they're scaled down to a crazy size, they may not work, etc. So you can actually give yourself alerts for any of the imported imagery that's actually in the file, or even some of the line weights that you might set in the InDesign file itself. Let's just have a little bit of a look at that. Now I'm in my printing and proofing mode. I can certainly go, once I click on the document here, to access any of the tools. In this case are links, but because I'm in my working mode here, I'm just going to close my color for the time being, and I'm going to click on my links, which is just this graphic here. Now what we've got here is two very important ones. We're going to look at these, the fact over both these two movies. One is the links for today, and the next one will be just the preflighting. Let's have a look at links first. Now in the links panel here, what I've got is just one image that's been imported into the file. Don't have any vector graphics other than what I've got in the file itself here. I also have a little flyout that's on the right hand side here. Now just before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this document out so we can see what's going on here. Okay, now you remember that we're in RGB workflow. This tells me the size of the file. This is my ICC profile, which I set for Adobe 1998. And that's basically all that's in here. But not necessarily. What I can go over here is what I want to find out. So if I go down to my panel options, is I can tick any of these additional things here. Scaling, which may be relevant for some of the vector graphics, through to basically a whole range of things to do with transparency or whatever. Now I'm going to let you find out a lot of these things yourself, and some will never be that important to you, and some may come in handy, and maybe come in handy at a specific time depending on a job that you might do. There is certainly far more in this program than what we're going to be covering, but just the key one and the most obvious is I'm going to look at these two and tick them: actual PPI and effective PPI. Now what actual PPI is, I'll just tick that, and I'll tick that here, is basically the actual file, in this case the image file that's coming in here in terms of its DPI, and this is the effective PPI. Let's just go OK, and you'll see these two things have come up here. Here is the actual and here is the effective, and you might be saying, well, why are these different? What's the difference between those two terms? Actual is that if I were to move this file just out of the way over here, and I'll just close my preflight for the time being. Here's my image file. I'll just zoom that down just to bring it up a little bit so it's not too much in the road here. The image here is actually been reduced. If you're working on a web page, you really have to stick to specific sizes of your imagery. It has to, whatever you set, that should be what it is, particularly with pixels, because we'll be wasting space. Plus, the imagery will start not looking that good if you try and condense it or increase it. And to a degree, the same with print, but you've got more of a flexibility. You can probably take an image up 120% or and certainly bring it down because it's only increasing the image. And that's exactly what's happened here. If I was just to place this image again, at the moment it says the effective is 377. I've scaled it down, so it's actually increased in image size. Let me just show you what's going on here. I'm just going to go File, and I'm going to Place, and I'll place that same image again, and I'll just go Open, and I'll just click here. Now if I was to drag that over here, you can actually see it's actually bigger. So because I've scaled it down, the basically effective PPI is actually been increased because I've made it a higher image-based, pixel-based file. It's got more imagery in there, or a greater size, because I've scaled it down. It's just like if I was bringing in a 400 DPI file and I didn't scale it, that's the size of it. If I drag it down, it actually just gets bigger, and that's exactly what's happened here. So I'll just delete that for now. Now this can be really handy, and also when we go into preflighting, you can determine that no matter what, particularly if you start scaling imagery up, that you in fact make sure by having this link information available to you, or letting you know within a pre-flight report that it's not going to become too low a res for the print output so it gets pixelated. And you want to maintain that quality output no matter what, and this helps you with that information. So actual size and effective PPI. The next one we'll look at will be basically the pre-flighting side of things.